It is only by thus understanding the essenceless of the objects of experience that one becomes free from the disease of desire. It's like realizing the absurd nature of your own fetish. It's not the object itself that's absurd, it's the fact that you make it into an object of desire, that you find it thrilling. We need to get a picture of our psychic landscape. Look at the things which we invest our emotion in, and realize that the emotion's here, not out there. It doesn't matter whether it's things or people. If we have desire for something, it means that we've got a sense of emptiness inside. So if you're feeling desire for a person, it's not a compliment to that person. What it is an indication of inner emptiness. So we mustn't confuse desire with love. They're quite separate things. Love comes about from an inner richness. You can only truly love somebody if you have an inner richness. I think many people confuse love with need. The arising of desire is sorrow, and the cessation of desire is supreme joy. There is no sorrow and no joy comparable to them, even in hell and in heaven. The mind is desire, and the cessation of desire is moksha, liberation. This is the essence of all scriptures. And it's not just the absence of desire, it's the realization of your true identity. People think it sounds a bit boring and stuffy to be talking about giving up desire. Desire is fun. But you're missing the big picture. Desire is only fun because you've got limited horizons. None of us envy the person who's got a foot fetish, do we? Some people get sexually turned on. They find it thrilling to look at somebody's feet. Are these people to be admired? Emulated? Some people have got fetishes which we might actually find quite disgusting. Do we admire them? No, we don't. At the best we can say, well, if it makes them happy, let them get on with it. But we don't want anything to do with it unless we're prone to that particular fetish ourselves. So that's the analogy. If you're free from fetish, if you're not caught up in a certain fetish, then this is like being free from desire, free from a limitation, a limited vision of things. If this desire cannot be overcome by self-effort, then surely it is powerful, and no other remedy is of any use. If you cannot overcome desire completely, then deal with it step by step. The wayfarer does not despair at the sight of the long road ahead, but takes one step at a time. Desire can be a huge problem, especially if it's causing harm to yourself or to others. And it can be very difficult to follow any kind of spiritual practice if you're caught up in desire, in which case you have to do what you can. You have to approach it any way you can to deal with it. But this particular teaching is a good way of dealing with it, by realizing your true nature. Even momentarily you've begun to slip free. You've begun to slip free from the shackles of your desire. Desire alone is samsara, or the world appearance, which is an extension or projection of one's desire. It seems a bit much, doesn't it, to say that the whole world is an expression of our desire. But we're talking about the world of our emotional life, of our inner life. We make our picture of the world, we form our understanding of the world. We each create our own version of the world. That determines how we live in it. That determines our lifestyle. That world reflects the pattern of our desires, and ultimately of our frustrations, because desire is almost always ultimately frustrated. Its non-cognition is liberation. And this is a good way of putting it. It's non-cognition. Because what I'm talking about there is this world that we all inhabit, our own world, our world of our desires and frustrations, because you can't have a world of desire without frustration. This arises from our own cognitive process, our own process of cognition. We can step aside from that world. We can step aside and when we realize that it's our own creation, it arises within our own consciousness. If we turn to our own consciousness, then we've gone beyond cognition of our desire, of the world of our desires. Hence one should diligently strive to overcome desire. All else is vain. Why does one vainly study the scriptures and hear the instructions of the preceptors? There is no samadhi without the cessation of desire. If your focus is on your desire and you've no interest in doing anything about it, then you're not participating in this teaching. I assume if you're watching this video and if you're reading the Yoga Vasishta, then you are interested in going beyond your desires. There will be times though when you're completely caught up in them. And these are good times to actually take a look at what's going on and take a look at this teaching. Because the point of it is to come back to consciousness at every opportunity. And that opportunity is ever expanding. If one finds that it is impossible to overcome desire by his own wisdom, then of what use is the study of scriptures or the instruction of the preceptor? Once this restlessness caused by desire is restrained, then very little effort is needed to attain self-knowledge. Stop making excuses for your desire. This is what we do. We make excuses for it. We give allowances to it. We invite it in and we say, I don't really want you here, but take a seat and make yourself at home anyway. That's usually our situation. We invite the desire in, we make excuses for it, we rationalise it, rather than just don't let it in the door in the first place. Hence, let everyone strive by every means to overcome desire, which is the seed for birth, old age and death. With the arising of desire, well, this is the traditional story, isn't it? But it's certainly the seed for notions of birth, old age and death. Because that's what inhabits our world of desire. Consciousness is free from all that. With the arising of desire, bondage arises, and with the cessation of desire, bondage ceases. Let therefore the seed of desire be burnt in one's own heart by the fire of peace, equanimity and self-control. And we do this by properly appreciating the nature of our own consciousness and abiding in that nature, which is serene. And equanimous.